these nations did not get together and violate the Israeli blockade as Israel is conducting it and put their naval vessels on the line and their own militaries on the line to force Israel to stand down. All right. Now we are going to talk about the global Samud Flotilla vessels. When I first started the broadcast 4 hours and 22 minutes ago, they were right about to be intercepted by the Israeli naval blockade. 4 hours later, Greta Thunberg has been arrested and apprehended, and they are deploying water cannons on some of the vessels.
Not to fame, but rather to keep all eyes on Gaza, which has been the message from this flotilla right from the beginning. Its whole purpose is to draw the world's attention to Gaza, for people to speak about Gaza.
Here's the Novara media.
And to remind their governments that the danger...
Where are you at? I'm in France.
Those on board the flotilla are putting themselves in is nothing compared to the danger that Palestinians living in Gaza...
So the military escorts were all a trick. I think with the exception of the Spanish one, but I guess the Spanish one is also not doing shit. I covered the... I mean, I didn't cover it, but I posted about it yesterday. But basically, it was just PR. The Greek vessels only allowed safe passage for the humanitarian flotilla through Greek territorial waters. The Turkish drones that were overseeing the Samud flotilla basically returned yesterday. They left. The Italian one was the most egregious. The Italian vessels actually made one more demand at the last point. One last demand with Giorgia Meloni coming out and saying one of the most insane things I've ever heard. Okay. Meloni came out and initially said, let's take the humanitarian aid from you and we'll deliver it. Okay. Then they said, go to Cyprus, redirect their ship to Cyprus. The Italians on board said, you, we're going to Gaza. Okay. Then they tried one last time yesterday to say, oh, let's redirect to Ashkelon. Okay. Let's redirect the ship to Ashkelon, the Israeli port, and then we'll deliver the aid that way. And then they all departed. And the only country that I thought could potentially go through with it and allow the humanitarian aid ship to go all the way in to the Gaza boundary was Spain. But the Spanish government has announced that its ship, the Führer, will no longer escort the humanitarian flotilla en route to Gaza. In its statement, Spain expressed respect for the humanitarian mission, but strongly recommends that the flotilla not attempt to breach the Israeli naval blockade for safety reasons. Showcasing once again that ordinary citizens of good conscience are braver than the navies of numerous European governments. Think about that. These are people on dinghies. These are people on boats with baby formula on their boats. And naval vessels are afraid of Israel's intensity and Israel's unlimited violence. But yeah, Meloni's statement was the most insane. Italy's Meloni says Gaza flotilla risks escalation, could blow up potential ceasefire deal.
The left was all
Israeli foreign minister calls flotilla dangerous provocation intended to inflame tensions and undermine ongoing diplomatic efforts. First of all, the ongoing diplomatic efforts are bullshit. In a lot of plazas in Italy, people are blocking everything now. Read my last message. People will react to this in Italy. Yeah. I think the promises from Spain, Italy, and Turkey have been a bit overstated in the press and on social media. So just to say that no naval vessel from any country is officially with us after 150 miles from Gaza, we will be on our own, says Alex Colston, who is the story editor and journalist from Dropsite News, who's also on the Samud flotilla. They are violating their international obligation. The Houthis are more worthy for meeting their obligations in their attempts to stop. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. France is the same. People are reacting right now in Paris as well as in other cities. That's the direct U.S. line so far on the flotilla. She's falling in line with Trump's international project. I mean, that's not surprising. The entire reason as to why these countries even said that they would send naval vessels was because of the incredible response from the respective populations. Okay, work stoppages, general strikes like like what we saw in Italy, over the streets. That is the only reason why these countries even offered a symbolic state recognition to Palestine as a pressure valve. And that is the only reason why they would even entertain sending some kind of assistance as a protection measure. But it was exactly, it was for nothing. It was just all optics. It was completely meaningless. These nations did not get together and violate the Israeli blockade as Israel is conducting it and put their naval vessels on the line and their own militaries on the line to force Israel to stand down. And here we are.
You are instructed to change your course. Any further attempts to sail towards and places you within an active war zone. If you continue on your route and attempt to breach the naval blockade, we will stop your vessel and act to confiscate it through legal proceedings in court.
Now, let's just bring you up to date on our top story this evening. The flotilla, roughly a 42-vessel convoy. And you can see the images of that flotilla on our screens right now. Some of the vessels that have been intercepted.
There's audio recordings from the Global Samud Flotilla and is addressed to the IOF. Thiago puts an IOF soldier on the spot.
An attempt to breach the naval blockade. We will stop your vessel and act to confiscate it through legal proceedings in court. You bear full responsibility for your actions.
Say that we are entering an active war zone. You're saying that we are entering a place where you're committing. This is against international law. Once again, the International Court of Justice made a provisional ruling that any attempt to hinder a humanitarian mission to Gaza is prohibited by international law and is complying with the request to make you accountable for the crime of the International Criminal Court has your Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu under an arrest warrant for the crime of starving children and starving people to death using starvation and famine as a weapon of war. Therefore, it's our moral duty to continue sailing. It's our moral duty to refuse any attempt of an occupying force to control humanitarian aid for the Palestinian people in Gaza who have the right of their sovereignty, who have the right of their self-determination and to control their own borders. Therefore, we do not recognize you as a legitimate agent to control any attempt to bring aid to the Palestinian people in Gaza. We request you to stand down, to do not commit another war crime among so many that you've been committing, and to stand down. Do not engage with our peaceful, non-violent, humanitarian solidarity mission for the Palestinian people in Gaza. I advise you again.
Also, here's a funny thing from Israel, of course. The Israeli Navy has released a video of one of their lieutenants calling the Samud flotilla to surrender its aid. In keeping with recent IDF policy to avoid foreign tribunals over Gaza, she faces away from the camera.
You are approaching a blockaded zone. If you wish to deliver aid to Gaza, you may do so through the established channels. Please change your course toward the port of Ashdod, where the aid will undergo a security inspection and then be transferred into the Gaza Strip.
They can't show their faces, by the way. Shouts out to the Hind Rajab Foundation for actively documenting all of the Israeli occupational forces terrorists who have foolishly documented themselves engaging in. But this is the new IDF policy. This is the official IDF policy for like the past half of a year now, where whenever they show like their brave warriors and whatnot, whenever they show their brave warriors, they do this thing where they shoot the back of their head. Why can't the Dems do this? Gather the Place de la République in Paris. We demand the immediate release of the crews in the Global Samud Flotilla. Bro, what the hell? They're already... What the... Bro, no way. Hold on now. God damn, these mobilize so fast, bro. The one shitty thing is that I'm not... I brought my IRL backpack. The one shitty thing is my OBS is busted right now, so I would have to most likely go offline and then online again. Do you see this? Like, it doesn't show bit rate and it's not connecting. So even if I were to go to this, I would have to go offline and then online again. But I don't even know how I would go offline. Hold on. March is waking up. You know what? I think it's worth it. I think this would be very cool for us to cover. Let's see. I'm also tired, but no, after the stream has been great. Yeah. Let me reach out to my Twitch person to see if we can do something without actually going fully offline. When is that from? Oh, this is just forming. Hold on. Don't go. You don't even speak French. I was supposed to go tomorrow night. I was supposed to go to the tomorrow night's protest. That's the one that they told me was happening. But I guess because they got intercepted tonight, they might be doing something right now. Hold on. Dude, the French love their protest, man. It's crazy. If you want to go, Place de République, I would say go tomorrow. Today will not go for so long because of the train situation at night. What do you mean? You could kill OBS via task manager to get the not like this screen so you won't go fully offline. Yeah, the problem is... Wait, is this a protest? No, this is not. This is Al Jazeera. You're sending me Al Jazeera. All right, we'll see. We'll see. Listen. We'll see. It's pertinent on a couple different things. 2 a.m. the metro is closed and it's midnight. Okay, bro. It's not 2 a.m. yet. It's 11:30. We are too soft in France nowadays. We need to be more tough. I know there's a huge protest in France tomorrow, which I was gonna go to. Video on the ground. 50%, il y va vraiment tout le monde. In solidarité. Yeah, I mean, this isn't the big one. The big one's tomorrow. Anyway, let's continue.
In international waters, the Israeli Foreign Ministry has said that they are in an active combat zone. Those on board say they are in international waters and what they're doing is absolutely legal. But we've got an update now from the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They say that, and this is a quote from an ex-post that they've put up, they've said, already several vessels of the Hamas Sumud flotilla have been safely stopped and their passengers are being transferred to an Israeli port. Greta and her friends are safe and healthy. And you'll remember Greta Thunberg was detained and then deported a few months ago. There are roughly about 500 people from around the world, part of this flotilla, about 42 vessels full of aid, things like baby formula, based on what they were telling me. I was speaking earlier to David Adler, a flotilla crew member, on the phone, and they were saying they were basically waiting now and expecting the Israeli authorities, the military, to board the vessels and detain or take them off the vessels. Of course, there are some 42 of these vessels in that convoy, the largest that they've ever had, with roughly about 500 people on board, as I said, from around the world, trying to make their way towards Gaza. Partly symbolic, because this situation...
Dude, we all know why they said they're Hamas, okay? It's to justify what comes next. And I think the fact that they said this time, like, oh, they're actually funded by Hamas or some shit, makes me feel like they'll apprehend some and then might do something worse to others if they haven't stopped every single boat so far.
Was totally predicted based on the previous flotillas that we've seen, whether it was in 2010 or in different times in the past couple of years. They've been intercepted and deported. There was a violent escalation in 2010 where almost 10 people were killed, but there were assurances given by the Israeli Foreign Ministry to the Italian Foreign Minister that there would be no violence used to prevent them, but they would eventually be intercepted, which is exactly what's happened. Now, those on board the flotilla probably knew this would be the outcome, and yet they wanted to do it because they say they wanted to highlight the plight of the Palestinian people. The Israeli Foreign Ministry says that this was just performative and that they should have given the aid they wanted to deliver into Gaza to the right authorities. But of course, we know from the past almost a year, the last 9 months, 8 months or so, that no aid, sufficient aid, has not been getting into Gaza. There was a blockade earlier in the year, and now
Can't see the video you're watching. This is the video. I don't know why. There's just like paused on this fucking image.
just over 100 trucks are managing to get into Gaza. Many are concerned about the number of trucks. Famine has been declared in parts of Gaza City. So this particular flotilla, attempting to highlight the issue in Gaza, the Israeli Foreign Ministry accusing them of being Hamas-backed and say that they are...
Now, this is the...
Yeah, I mean, it's complete and utter bullshit, by the way, the whole, like, Hamas statement. They didn't even do a... They didn't even do a good enough job. Not to say that they do a good job in other instances, but like... It's just like they straight up had one of the most low effort, like, this person is Hamas baits I've seen. And now at the point of apprehension, it seems like mass mobilization is taking place. Here is a scene from Spain. Here, I'll show you.
نحن أمام زخم ربما قد يفاجئ حتى الحسابات الإسرائيلية وبالتالي ماذا عن هذه الصورة عن حسابات
Of course, it's the Arabic channels that are covering all of the fucking protests. Not sure if America is covering these protests. Obviously, they don't give a shit. Here is Berlin. Remember, these countries also are worse than some other places. Like in Germany, like, you're liable for arrest. Reports of protests in Berlin and all over Turkey. There's also been a steady stream of condemnation, but who cares? Here's Rome from Al Jazeera Arabic, but this is the Rome.
ويحشد لها منذ أيام يوم الرابع من أكتوبر الجاري أما مسيرة الليلة فهي تتحول إلى
Yeah, you want to see how fucking stupid this is? This was the Israel Foreign Ministry exposed. Official Hamas documents found in the Gaza Strip now reveal for the first time proof Hamas's direct involvement in the funding and execution of the Samud flotilla to Gaza. Okay? It's not even, it's fucking George Galloway. Okay? This is George fucking Galloway. I don't even know if that's George Galloway. This is a random dude. Not even George Galloway. Okay? They are showing George Galloway next to Ismail Haniyeh, who is dead. Okay? Who was killed by Israel. This is a different person and not even George Galloway. Okay? And they're claiming that George Galloway is Hamas, I guess. And they're saying that the Palestinian Conference for Palestinians Abroad was established in 2018 and functions as Hamas's representative body abroad. Bullshit. Okay, not even true. One, that is George Galloway, a British politician, not Hamas. Two, this is just Israel still trying to create a public justification for a violent attack against a humanitarian mission. The other guy's Palestinian Chuck Schumer. Yeah, this is Chuck Schumer after he heard Donald Trump call him a Palestinian. Except, no, I think he's like some Pakistani politician or something. So he's not even George Galloway. He's just a Pakistani unk. It's so crazy, man. Israel could just say anyone is Hamas and like European governments will literally follow through on it and they will arrest you. There's a protest in Berlin at the Central Station. We should all sell seats to the flotilla to celebrities like Katy Perry went to outer space. Yeah, Katy Perry ain't going on a fucking flotilla to Gaza. Let's be real. There are demonstrations in Rome. There's demonstrations in Brussels, Turkey. Gustavo Petro has announced the cancellation of the free trade agreement with Israel and kicks Israeli diplomats out of Colombia. And CGIL in Italy has called for a general strike on Friday. Maybe Jennifer Lawrence would? Fuck no, bro. Jennifer Lawrence was like talking big shit, defending fucking Amy Schumer after October 7. Okay? Up until like April of 2024, Jennifer Lawrence was like, Amy Schumer is so brave for speaking her truth. It's a big fuck you to the rest of the world. Meanwhile, what was her truth? Just being fucking annoying. Yeah, J-Law recently changed their mind. Anyway, but yeah, Italy's largest union with over 5.5 million workers has called for a general strike on Friday in solidarity with the global Samud flotilla. And smaller Italian unions have said they will join CGIL's general strike. Goats. Fucking awesome. Fucking amazing. Can you summarize what happened with the government shutdown? No. There's a rewind function now if you're a subscriber, okay? The Piker Broadcasting Service now offers a rewind function as long as you are a subscriber. The Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. Okay? There's no ad breaks, but if you subscribe, your voluntary contributions in the form of a $6 a month subscription or a free one in the form of a Twitch Prime allows you to use a bunch of cool emotes all around the website, all around the broadcast, clip the broadcast if you choose to do so. And now it will allow you to, as long as you're watching on a desktop, rewind the stream. Also, the gifted sub, 35% off ended. September, unfortunately, ended. But does the Piker Broadcasting Service approve of massive natural granins? What is that, like granny cannons? Disgusting capitalist. This is true. It's capitalism when I do a call for people to subscribe to an otherwise free broadcast that I don't even fucking run ads on or take any sponsorships on, and literally tell you that you don't even have to subscribe. Famously, that's how it works. Like when you go to a ice cream shop, you can just get it for free, right? You can just get the ice cream for free, but the owner of the ice cream shop says, hey, you can pay if you want. You don't have to. It's free. But if you want to, you can pay. And then you donate voluntarily. And that's capitalism. All right, let's get back to the article.
Israeli naval forces issued a warning to activists on board one of the flotilla boats. You'll see the response of one of those activists, Tiago Avila.
This is the Israeli Navy. You are approaching a
war criminal
blockaded zone. If you wish to deliver aid to Gaza, you may do so through the established channels. Please change your course toward the port of Ashdod, where the aid will undergo a security inspection and then be transferred into the Gaza Strip.
We advise you that we are a humanitarian, non-violent solidarity mission to break the illegal siege imposed by Israel 18 years ago against the Palestinian people in Gaza and to create a humanitarian corridor. We carry only food, aid, we carry water filters, we carry crutches, we carry baby formula for the people that you've been starving to death. I repeat, you've been committing genocide for 8 decades and ethnic cleansing against the Palestinian people, and that is absolutely against international law. Once again, we are in international waters, which is not your jurisdiction. We are heading to Palestinian territorial waters, which is not your jurisdiction, despite the fact that you think you can occupy that land. But all of this is completely illegal. The highest judicial authority in the world, the International Court of Justice, in their provisional rulings on the case opened by South Africa against you for the crime of genocide, clearly stated that you are prohibited to hinder any humanitarian mission to get to Gaza. Once again, in a planet of 8 billion people, people despise you starving children to death, bombing hospitals, schools, and shelters. Here we are here with the conscience of the world, moving peacefully in a non-violent humanitarian mission to take this aid.
Israel's defense minister today said Gaza City was nearly fully encircled, the last chance for civilians to get out. On the coast road, those able to flee on foot, afford the cost of transport, of somewhere to sleep at the other end, were doing so as the city behind them continued to be pounded.
Everything's being fired at us. Everything's destroyed. There are explosions everywhere. There's nothing left for us.
Another reason for this renewed scramble, Israel's warning that this road would soon be partially blocked. The Israeli military said the checkpoint would be placed on the intersection of the Al-Rashid coastal road and what Israel calls the Netzarim corridor. Civilians would still be allowed south with inspections, but travel north back towards Gaza City would be prohibited. But this afternoon, no checkpoint, instead reports of approaching tanks and gunfire from the air. A patch of land meters away, repeatedly strafed. On one of the donkey carts, a teenager nursing what looks at first like an injured arm, but in reality is barely that. His left hand connected to his body by little more than bone. injured by shelling that killed a woman and 2 young headed towards supposed safety. When we got to the Netzarim crossing, we found out that there was bombing going on and tanks firing and quadcopters and people dead on the road. The ground incursion into Gaza City remains slow. The Israeli army releasing these images today of its soldiers clearing ruined streets and buildings. From the air, the campaign is relentless. This still image, all we can show of a strike near a water truck, leaving bodies scattered. The IDF yet to respond to our request for a comment. The International Committee of the Red Cross today suspending its operations in Gaza City because of the dangers.
In the history of Doctors Without Borders, I don't think Doctors Without Borders has ever fucking left an area due to significant harm to the doctors until Gaza City, I believe. They officially left Gaza City, saying that they could no longer operate because their doctors are direct targets. The only other time is Kunduz, and they hadn't withdrawn from Kunduz. Barack Obama lasered it, the hospital in Kunduz, and killed 2 Doctors Without Borders doctors at the time. And I'm sure like other doctors have been killed, but they hadn't like officially withdrawn from an area. Yeah, Doctors Without Borders suspending medical work in Gaza City due to Israel's violence, including airstrikes and tanks less than 1 kilometer from their facilities. Comes same day as Netanyahu uses UN speech to scold dozens of nations for accusing him of committing war crimes. The entire point of Doctors Without Borders is that they literally operate in conflict zones, and they're supposed to be like a white human shield. So there are still
PTSD. Well,
I guess there are still some ships that are on the flotilla that haven't been intercepted yet.
Yesterday, Donald Trump gave Hamas 3 to 4 days to respond to his peace plan, which would see.
Weren't Italy, Colombia, and Turkey going to help them? I already covered it. They withdrew at the last second. Even Spain. Spain was the only one that I thought maybe would keep their naval carrier, their naval vessel, to push through the blockade. And 150 miles off the coastline, they all withdrew.
It release all Israeli hostages and commit to permanent disarmament. Conflicting reports today on the early signals coming from Hamas leaders in Doha. Worth remembering that while the world has watched in real time Gaza's descent into horror, its people have been...
Yeah, a couple days ago, there was a nurse that was directly shot with a fucking quadcopter, by the way, in the head. A nurse working in a hospital was shot in the head by a quadcopter. A quadcopter sniped him in the head. He's in like full fucking nurse gear in the hallways of a fucking hospital on camera. Just listen to the new TrueAnon about the story of the saboteur on the flotilla. Wait, what the fuck? Someone leaked that to... I didn't know that was public knowledge. Yeah. There was yeah. I mean, I've been talking to some people on the fucking ships as well. I thought that it wasn't. I thought that they didn't like leak it, but I guess someone leaked it. Yeah, there was a saboteur. A little correction. That might not be the former Pakistani senator in the photo that Israel lied about. It's definitely not George Galloway, but I was wrong in my assumption. The 2 individuals look so similar. I mean, it's not George Galloway, certainly, as Israel is claiming. Also, George Galloway is not Hamas.
Inching the world's response, perhaps never more closely than now.
The choices are difficult for Hamas, but I believe reason and the demands of the Palestinian people will make them agree to Trump's plan, regardless of its details. They have to say yes or no. At this stage, they can't maneuver.
Approaching Gaza's coastline, meanwhile, the dozens of boats making up the Sumud or Steadfastness Flotilla. The activists have refused Greek and Italian calls to offload and donate the aid.
I don't know what happened with the saboteur, man. I don't know. I don't have any additional details, okay? I didn't know that was like the public knowledge. That's all I'm saying.
They're carrying for Gaza, saying they want to highlight what they call an illegal blockade. Overnight, they say Israeli naval vessels approached and jammed their communications and navigation systems. Today, the former mayor of Barcelona, Ada Colau, saying they were prepared to be attacked and detained. Israel has warned the boats to turn back and has been preparing for what would be a complex multiple interception. In the last hour, activists have declared an emergency, saying they expect soon to be confronted by the Israeli Navy.
Well, earlier I spoke to James Elder from UNICEF, who's in Gaza, and I asked him what conditions were currently like there.
Well, I was in Gaza City yesterday, Christian. You're talking about 1,000 airstrikes in the space of a few weeks. I heard many in the small space time I was there. There is a level of panic among people, and there's also a level of deprivation. I was by a water truck and just seeing hundreds of people rush to it because they have not seen water in days. And time and again, people would ask me, are we safe in the south? Now, of course, the reality is, no, they're not safe in the south. I was at a hospital earlier today. Many children, Christian, who were in tents at night time, and there was an airstrike in a nearby tent. You can imagine how quickly shrapnel rips through a tent. So children who are paralyzed, children with head injuries, children with amputations, all in these so-called safe zones.
And what are the conditions and the supplies like in the hospitals?
Horrific. I was in NASA just a few hours ago, Christian, and for the first time I'm seeing now corridors, hospital hallways, absolutely full of mums and newborns. Babies who are premature now. In the first 6 months of this year, 1/3 of all births were either premature or underweight, or they went straight to the ICU. So I'm meeting a little baby who was in ICU for 21 days and is now in a hospital hallway. These are first-rate hospitals, but they're just absolutely overrun. I've not seen this before, where we are literally talking about scores.
How is this guy in Gaza? Dog, he's UNICEF. It's like these are the people that Israel has to literally let into the strip. Like, it's literally UNICEF, man. The fuck? This man might be Hamas. Be careful how you speak. Yeah, I can tell from his accent he's Hamas. UNICEF. UNICEF.
Babies. I met women who've had miscarriages fleeing to the south. I met a mum in a tent 2 days ago.
Or else what? They don't care about the consequences? Honestly, you're not wrong. Like, what the fuck would the world do if they wouldn't even let UNICEF into the Gaza Strip, I guess? Who's going to say no to Israel, man? Not going to be us. Not going to be the American government.
Who should be eating for 3 because she's 9 months pregnant, Christian, with twins. She's barely eating for 1. She spoke about, with her first child, the cravings that mums have. Her cravings are just for food. So the situation for mums, for newborns, is absolutely at the worst it's ever been after.
You sound like a cuck. Probably never seen a war zone with a name like that. Doing a lot of comment on stream. Go protest and make an actual difference. What are parents? I'm an orphan. The most easily triggered generation. Triggered. Dude, you're so fucking sick. You're so fucking cool, man. Everybody that read your comment knows you're now the king of the chat. You're fucking cool, dude. Yeah, these dumb libtards, they get triggered so easily. Ha. Brother, you're 50. Go start a family. What are you doing in this chat? What the hell are you doing in the chat, man? 50-year-old man talking about triggered.
2 years of this.
So do you have any sense of what that means for, what they call excess deaths? This is, not people killed by bombing or starvation, but people who are dying because of the conditions there now.
We don't. I mean, the one woman who had a miscarriage as she tried to walk from Gaza City to the south, and I spoke to a doctor in NASA Hospital about this. He said he had 6 cases like that in the space of a day. I mean, Christian, on my very first day back here, and this is my 6th mission back to Gaza City, and I was committed to try and get to a hospital because I'd heard that there were actually some, volunteers going around to try and bring a little bit of energy and happiness, childhood back to children. I wanted to see that. I wanted to share that because there is an immense community spirit here. There's an immense spirit from parents, doctors, nurses. But at the hospital, Christian, within 30 minutes, I was in a tent outside. There were 4 children, all having been shot by quadcopters. In the hospital, there was a teenage boy who'd been down to one of these Gaza humanitarian funds and had been shot and was lying bleeding on the floor because there were no beds, no beds whatsoever for patients. Then a little girl came in, a little 5-year-old girl who'd been pulled from the rubble. Now, she survived, didn't even have any broken bones. But this little girl, Sham, was not yet aware that her sister and her mother died in that strike. And then I was in ICU, Christian, and it's a makeshift ICU, and looking at a little girl, a 6-year-old girl, Aya, looking at the care, the love she'd had. She had these little bobs in her hair and clean fingernails, but she'd been in an airstrike. And as the doctor explained to me, the severity of her situation. She died. She died in front of us. That's 30 minutes in a hospital, and that's a hospital getting the overflow from those people under attack in the north.
So, I mean, that's interesting what you say about quadcopters. We're not hearing a lot about deaths at these Gaza Humanitarian Foundation aid distribution points at the moment. Is that still going on? Are people being shot still trying to get food?
Yeah, I haven't been to any of the most people end up in field hospitals, and I've not been to those in the south. In Al-Aqsa, in the middle area, yeah, there's an entire room of people who have injuries and gunshot wounds or shrapnel wounds, who all say that these occur at these sites.
James Elder, thank you very much.
Thanks, Christian.
For the last
do you think Israel's bullshit is what eventually is going to break up NATO? No. I mean, look at all the fucking NATO nations, dude. Are you kidding me? They're all dogs to American empire. And yeah, countries can make strong condemnations, but that doesn't mean anything. Like, do you think Turkey doesn't have the naval capacity to offer protection to its own citizens that are on the fucking Sumud flotilla? It does. They just don't want the smoke. They don't want to piss off America. That's it. Yeah, there's mad Turkish citizens on board. Yes, I know they've been intercepting. I have been looking at the flotilla. I know.
Madeleine got to around, I think, 100 nautical miles away.
This is Meteg.
The handler got closer, or maybe it's the other way around. I mean, 50 nautical miles away is the closest that anyone's come on a boat in recent years.
That's the Irish guy, isn't it?
About that now, I believe. So perhaps I didn't expect them to get quite this far. 100 was where the 2010 flotilla was intercepted. 100 was where I think the handler was intercepted.
No, not Liam. 50, the Irish comedian 70,
guy. The Madeleine. So, it may be that they have actually come the furthest. So
I don't know how to say his name. Is it Tag? The Meteg is surrounded, and I can hear the Israeli occupying force screaming at them to turn their engine off. The crew is ignoring their commands. This is the latest. Thig, or Taiga? Taiga. This is a stupid question, but why don't they keep sailing forwards? I mean, because Israel will fucking kill them. Like, that's why. Yeah, just ignore the genocidal entity that has been fucking doing, that has been just melting children with zero repercussions for the past 23 months. Yeah, you guys do realize that, like, the OG was Mavi Marmara in 2010, and Israel literally fucking sent commandos in helicopters and slaughtered a bunch of human rights workers on the fucking ship. The OG, like, blockade, the OG humanitarian flotilla was Mavi Marmara, and they slaughtered 10 people. They just straight up fucking dropship commandos from helicopters and just murdered them. Don't forget that the Gaza Flotilla volunteers are ordinary people actually risking their lives. Yes, Israel's killed activists before while world leaders did nothing. Yeah. Ankara calls the incident unacceptable as 10 members of the aid convoy are killed during storming of Turkish ship in international waters. And then they said they were Hamas, of course. And they said the ship had weapons. And then they did the fake, they did the fake message famously where they were like, they made it seem like the Turkish vessel, the captain of the Turkish vessel said, "Remember 9/11. Hey, fuck off. Remember 9/11. Go back to Auschwitz." They hit the... Dude, Hasbara has not evolved from 2010, okay? You need to understand, like, there was a reason why so many people who are, like, aware of Israel's tricks, there was a reason why so many people were like, oh, here we go again, when, like, they did that thing after Al-Ahli, where they blew up the Al-Ahli courtyard, and then they were like, it was actually Hamas. And then they were like, it was actually Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And then they revealed a intercepted phone conversation where it was like, oh, ya Allah, I am from Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and I hate Israel, but also I'm so bad. I'm a bad guy, And oh no, we accidentally killed our own people. And then everyone was like, see, Israel would never bomb a hospital. It's so crazy. We bomb ourselves. Oh no. That stuff's not new. That's been around. Israel was doing that. Israel was doing that for a minute. What are the odds that they find a copy of Mein Kampf on the flotilla? Oh, high. They already called them Hamas, so they'll probably do like they'll probably say that there was like Hamas documents or something, or like a Hamas banner on there or some shit like that. Put some AKs and say they're smuggling weapons to Hamas? No, they don't even do that shit, bro. I'm telling you, with Mavi Marmara, they said the boat was carrying weapons, and they didn't even act. They just showed a bunch of like kitchen knives and were like, you see? Look at all these weapons that they had on the ship. That's why we had to shoot them with automatic machine guns from a fucking helicopter. Nowadays, they don't even need to do that. They could just say, oh, this guy's Hamas. Look, here's a photo of George Galloway, who's also Hamas. Yeah, this is what they said. This is why they were like, look at all the weapons that they had. We had to kill them. We had no other option. There are EU politicians on board. Isn't that a big enough shield? No. Are they letting them go? What is this? Wait, they're celebrating. Genuine question, why do this at night, lol? Brother, do you think they just materialized on the Gaza coastline one night? They've been sailing for weeks. The fuck are you talking about? Also, Israel is the one that decides when to implement the blockade. That's the reason why they're doing it at night. Why didn't they fast travel? Big L for the flotilla. Yeah, they hadn't unlocked the Gaza fucking checkpoint. That's why they can't fast travel yet. This is literally what they're trying to do. They're trying to unlock the Gaza checkpoint so they can consistently fast travel to Gaza with ease going forward. Everybody knows that.
Somebody give me a light.
Does Israel not care about even trying to launder their reputation?
That was the Matek. We had the audio there. You heard the idea.
Even if they're faking it, why take so many L's? Because at a certain point, you have to realize, like, their only goal is a genocide. And if no one is stopping them from conducting this genocide, then they don't feel the need to try to PR wash it. Like, at most, the PR laundering, the reputation laundering for the genocide comes with, like, the whole Gaza peace plan, right? Like, that's what they were trying to present as, like, a way to continue the genocide while making it seem as though they're invested in some sort of like peaceful alternative when they had no ambitions for peace whatsoever, obviously.
I believe it was in Lisbon. Was that right, Darius? In Brussels. Sorry, it was in Brussels.
Yeah, they already called the fucking flotilla Hamas.
2 years away from the
Anyway, let's watch this. Will Israel be banned from Eurovision? I fucking hope so. Jesus Christ.
Eurovision has attracted scenes like these. While there's over half a year to go until the next contest, already countries are poised to vote. The issue in contention being whether Israel should be allowed to enter.
You can't avoid politics. If Israel is there, we won't be there.
As the world waits to see what happens with the negotiations over Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan, within the cultural world, there's no let-up in the increasing isolation of Israel. Slovenia, alongside broadcasters from Spain, the Netherlands, Ireland and Iceland, all threatening to boycott over the country's continued military action. Unless there's a sudden breakthrough, jolted into action by the controversy, the European Broadcasting Union, which runs the contest, has said it plans to hold a vote on Israel's participation, which will take place at an extraordinary meeting of the EBU's online early next month.
The decision on whether to allow Israel into the contest by a popular vote is really unprecedented, and I think the situation is made even more complicated by the fact that the organisers themselves have allowed certain countries to, in a sense, get away with breaking the rules or deeming them to have not broken the rules sufficiently to allow participation.
In 2023, Israel was represented by their equivalent of Britney Spears, Noah Kirel, a major star.
Their equivalent of Britney Spears. Boo. Dude, this is so shit. I really thought this would be better. So shit. It's not marshmallows. They're, what is it called? It's, meringue. It tastes like dookie.
She came third, and while the singer gets that a lot has changed politically since then, she says it's unfair to punish the Israeli people for the actions of their government.
The voters understand that.
What is it? Is it unfair to punish the Russian people for the actions of their government?
Politics has no connection to this competition. So I hope
It absolutely does. Yeah, politics has no connection to this competition. That's why Israel cheats every year by botting the fucking telephone votes.
hopefully that people will understand that and respect that and could see the good side of it and not the bad side.
Regardless of the outcome of next.
Like, the reality of the matter is this. If you're an anti-Zionist Jew in Israel, and I've met many, they are more honest about why this must be done than many other people in America that consider themselves to be fucking anti-Zionist or at least critical of Israel. They understand that Israeli society is so invested in the continuation of this ethnic cleansing campaign that the only way to swing societal attitudes against this genocide is by punishing Israel as a whole by not allowing them to participate in shit like this, so that they recognize their pariah status and selfishly decide to stop the genocide. It's that simple. And it's not just this, it's FIFA, it's UEFA, it's sanctions, it's boycotts, it's economic punishments, it's anything and everything you can do to make regular Israelis feel as though the rest of the world fucking despises them for this crime, the crime of all crimes, so that all of the other, and anti-Zionist Jews in Israel would say this first and foremost, all of their fucking neighbors who are selfishly refusing to see the humanity of the Palestinians won't magically, automatically, overnight become aware of the humanity of Palestinians, but at least they'll recognize that there is a punishment for continuing to do the genocide and reconsider their support for it.
Both Ireland, Iceland and Slovenia have all said their plan to boycott will stand as long as Israel's still at war.
We are all somehow prisoner of German guilt. The people who are in the country, like leading the public service media in the countries, and they don't do anything, I think they will regret.
Yeah. South Africa only destroyed apartheid to maintain the white community's power. That's it. Because right now, Israelis don't think that there's like any severe penalties for this genocide. Keeping Israel out of Eurovision is one of the most effective sanctions Europe can wield on Israel. Well, I can think of some more effective sanctions, but, you know. It is hard to explain to outsiders how vital that competition is culturally as a part of the Israeli identity, as a villa in the jungle or a Western outpost in the Middle East. The other important plank of that participation in UEFA soccer events, Israel should be removed from both. That's it. In apartheid South Africa, they didn't actually abolish the apartheid because they magically recognized the humanity of black people. They abolished it because they were forced to, due to steady boycott sanctions and punishments that made the white South Africans become pariahs worldwide. Now, of course, in Israel, it's a little bit different because Israel as a nation state is, unfortunately, through Zionism, so closely tied to Jewish identity and so closely tied to real oppression, unlike what the Boers could claim, unlike what the white Afrikaners could claim, but like thousands of years of death and destruction done to Jews on the basis of being Jewish. So I think they dig their heels in a little bit harder, I suspect. But even then, it would not be fucking 80% looking the other way, because there are plenty of, especially liberal Zionists in positions of power, that still seem to appreciate that Israel is seen as like a Western outpost. And if they no longer got that benefit, if they no longer got that, then they'd be forced to reconsider.
Press that doesn't want it to be seen. I mean, that's an extremely positive feature of social media, right?
Well, it is, and there's a reason why Benjamin Netanyahu has overtly talked about the information space. They've overtly talked about the front line of the future of this conflict is in the media, information space, social media. They're getting involved now with TikTok. David Ellison, Larry Ellison's son, very briefly the wealthiest man on earth, is involved in, has huge media interests, Paramount, etc. But now
Israel's public broadcaster Kan has said its potential disqualification could have wide-ranging implications for the competition and the values for which the...
Bro, Israel is so funny. Because, like, you could be a fucking grocery store chain in Israel, and, like, at the first sign of pushback, you start speaking like you're Adolf Hitler. Like, what is this ominous shit? Like, you could literally be like, hey, this Israeli grocery store we no longer want in our neighborhood due to its support for, like, I don't know, the West Bank settlers, West Bank settlements, right? And they would release a statement being like, you have done the gravest crime of all humanity, and may your children suffer 1,000 punishments for generations to come. What you have done is a major disgrace to the standards of international human rights. You have brought a great blight upon, a plague upon your home and the homes of all of your neighbors. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up, dude. You're Khan. You're the Israel Broadcasting Corporation. Why are you talking like you have... Why are you talking like you have nukes armed directly at Eurovision? That's all it takes. You tell an Israeli no one time, they start Sephiroth posting, dude. They get all fucking biblical with it. It's strange. It's strange as fuck. Like, what do you mean? Could have any such move could have wide-ranging implications for the competition and the values for which the EBU stands.
EBU stands. Pop bangers and power ballads aside, the criticism of the EBU has become deafeningly loud. The world waiting and watching for political decisions and cultural ones too. Katie Spencer, Sky News.
Sky News revealed last week there was a growing clamour amongst European football leaders to suspend Israeli teams over the war in Gaza. But now I've learned that push for a vote on a ban is on hold. That's while Donald Trump pursues this peace plan for Gaza.
Fucking pussies, dude. They're all cowards. They're all cowards. They're all pussies. They're all so scared to do the bare minimum right thing. Makes me so mad.
I'm told that European football leaders don't want to seem to be imposing sporting sanctions while there's a hope of ending this 2-year-old war. The ruling body of FIFA, their council...
Oh, yeah, no, totally, man. They were just about to end it. This war, by the way. This would be an impediment to peace. You should do it anyway. Okay? What the fuck do you mean? You should do it as a punishment regardless. Like, I'm so serious right now. If Israel was like, my bad, sorry about the genocide, we're going to stop now, tomorrow, they still shouldn't be a part of FIFA, and they still shouldn't be a part of Eurovision. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, what kind of stupid shit is this? Yes, bro, you don't get to do a genocide and then go back to business as usual the day after. Yeah, fuck these guys, okay? Yeah, you shouldn't be a part of FIFA. You shouldn't be a part of UEFA. You should not be a part of Eurovision. And you should get sanctions regardless. What are we talking about? Oh, we don't want to be an impediment to peace. It's like, there is no peace, first and foremost. But also, even if there was fucking peace, they should still be punished until they offer reparations.
Does meet in Zurich on Thursday, and have that meeting...
And then fucking denazify themselves. Denazify Israeli society. That's the other thing. I could not believe it. I thought some things were changing at the New York Times, so I thought the editorial board wouldn't be so callous as to suggest that the Gaza peace plan, which is fake, was good. And that, I mean, I knew that they were going to say it was good, but they would have the audacity to say, this authority should create a program in schools, the media, and elsewhere to remove Hamas's pervasive radicalizing influence over Gazan society. Like, what level of of indecency are we at now? This is just pure Islamophobia through and through. The notion that a Palestinian child is actually radicalizing against Israel because they read a book controlled by Hamas or something is so stupid. Palestinians, in spite of the metric ton of unimaginable violence, uncontrolled violence that Israel subjected to them, while calling themselves the Jewish state, while claiming that they're doing this violence for Judaism, are literally, in spite of all of that, less anti-Semitic than like some fucking average televangelist in the fucking deep south. And they should be way more anti-Semitic. What are we talking about? If the only association that you have with Judaism is some fucking asshole blowing up your school and then putting fucking menorahs up in what used to be your fucking schoolyard, yeah, of course you're going to be fucking anti-Semitic. You're going to be like, this is demon shit. These guys are fucking demonic. They must be the spawn of Satan. That's what you would normally think. And those dudes still don't even demonstrate that level of anti-Semitism. And these fucking assholes still go, oh, they're radicalized by Hamas. No, man. No, they're not radicalized by fucking Hamas. They're radicalized by the fact that Israel blew up the school. Israel's violence is so crazy. People in the Western world are actually getting radicalized against Israel. What are we talking about? People who are not even directly related to the issue. People who literally think Muslims are scary. Okay? People in the Western world who think Islam is a scary religion that is here to destroy the Western civilization have unironically become radicalized against Israel. That's how fucking arrogant Israel is. That's how much violence Israel subjected people to while seemingly demanding more and more support in return. It makes no fucking sense. Yeah, dude. It was the shit that kids are reading at school and not the fact that the school is blown up by Israel that makes these kids radicalized against Israel, to take up arms against Israel.
I've been hearing from FIFA Vice President Victor Montagliani. He's the first person to go on camera to discuss this attempt to ban Israel.
I'm sure people have opinions, but you know the reality is that issue is the jurisdiction of UEFA first and foremost. It's their member, and they have a process. I think they've been public about their process and their timelines around it. So we need to respect that, and so, you know, I think it's important that we respect that it's UEFA's decision. Obviously, you know, UEFA and FIFA will be having whatever discussions they need to, no different than any other confederation would on any other member. You know, obviously,
I don't respect it. Y'all are some bitches, bro. Jesus Christ. Y'all are some whole ass bitches.
It's an issue that changes from a geopolitics standpoint almost on a daily basis. As we saw with the last proposal of a peace plan. And so, you know, there's a lot of moving parts with respect to that issue.
Victor Montagliani speaking to me exclusively here, as well as being a FIFA vice president. He is president of the CONCACAF football region covering North America, where the World Cup is being co-hosted by...
I really thought that Qatar would have some motion here after Israel blew up their capital. You know what I mean? I really thought Qatar would be the country that forces the hand of this organization with all the fucking money that they dump into this shit. Way more than Israel. Like, come on. Qatar is a vassal state, no? Yes, but like, they also have a decent amount of fucking motion here.
By US, Mexico, and Canada next year. It was last week I revealed the US State Department would intervene to stop FIFA banning Israel if they did progress on that course. What changed the dynamic for some in Europe was a UN Commission of Inquiry saying that Israel is...
Qatar has no motion. They aren't in UEFA, and they only got the World Cup one time because of bribery in 2011. Everyone laughs at them in FIFA. Dude, we're talking about FIFA. The only thing that matters is money. No shit. That's why I'm saying they have motion, because they have money. Also, Qatar owns like major teams. What are you talking about? Anyway, what the fuck is happening here?
Somewhat harder. So this is logistically very, very complex.
So Maria Christina has an idea vessel in view. People have been asking